Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. R. Lee Ingalls here, and this video is part of the recipe series. Today we're going to talk about the onion and apple tart appetizer. But before we get started, I want to say one thing. First of all, it's January 21st, 2025. I want to mark that day because it snowed in Houston. I'll show you a photo of our courtyard with the amount of snow that we have. It's crazy. It doesn't happen very often, but it did today. So we are all locked inside. Waiting for the snow to go away. So again, today's video is going to be the onion and apple tart. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I don't have photos of it, but when I do make the recipe again, I'll be sure and take photos and I'll post them out there somewhere. So this one, I really don't have a lot of changes that I make, but I do want to talk about some of the things that are more important as you prepare it. So when you look at this recipe, this one covers the full spectrum of savory to sweet. So it covers both bases, and you can elevate one or the other depending on what you're going to do with it, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But first of all, one of the things I want to make sure that I note the pan that you put it on. It does say use a baking spray to keep everything from sticking. It also suggests parchment paper. I personally use parchment paper. I find it much easier to use. You don't have a problem with the sticking, and cleanup is much easier. So parchment paper is a way to go for me, but whatever you're comfortable with, the baking sprays work as well. So that's one thing. Next thing is you're going to prepare the onion mixture and the apple mixture separately. One thing that you want to keep in mind is not to have them too wet. If they are, when you put them on the pastry square, they're going to bleed. And you really want those flavors to stay on the pastry square as much as possible. So follow the recipe, make your onion mixture. It does need to cool to room temperature. The temptation for me is always to stick it in the fridge for a while, and that works. However, if it's in there too long, it's going to get too solid. So don't leave it in there too long. And then prepare your apple mixture. Again, it's important. Caramelization is what they talk about, and it's important on both the onion and the apple mixture to get a good caramelization. Again, making sure it's not too wet, and you don't want to overcook it where it's too dry either. So those are the two secrets there. Cheese in it. The Gruyere cheese is really good. So this is one of those appetizers, very impressive. So when you have an event where you want to be impressive, like when your mother-in-law is coming over, this is a good one to make. You just see me glancing down at my notes to make sure that I cover everything. Okay, one thing that I want to make sure to point out is it talks about the shelves in your oven, having an upper one and a lower one, and then rotating the recipes both front to back and up and down during the baking time period. So it takes about 25 minutes to bake. So about the 13 minute, you're going to want to rotate those. It is an important step to make sure that everything gets cooked evenly and cooked all the way through. Even if you're using a convection oven, I find that rotating it is a necessary step. So don't leave that one out. Last, let's talk about the sweet and savory elements of it. So for me, when I'm preparing a dinner, if I'm going to use this as an appetizer, I'm going to elevate the salt and pepper, the savory flavors in it, because it makes a better setup for your dinner, and that's what I want for dinner, is something more on the savory side. So in the end, it does suggest putting salt and pepper on it, which I do. I use a sea salt, so you get that kind of granulated sugar or salt, and then a little bit of cracked pepper. Not too much, but just a little bit to elevate those flavors. On the reverse side of that, if I'm going to use this as a breakfast pastry, which by the way, it makes an excellent breakfast pastry, rather than finishing it with the salt and pepper, I will finish it with a crystalled sugar. That elevates the sweetness a little bit and makes it a more appropriate breakfast appetizer or tasty bite, if you will. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about this recipe. Again, very impressive. I hope you give it a try. It's not that hard at all to make. It sounds complex, but it really isn't. it's pretty easy to make and put together. So you'll find it in my cookbook, Cooking on the Prairie with the Ingalls. It is one of the appetizer recipes. All the recipes in this book are recipes that I make all the time. They're all favorite recipes of mine. This one, again, is one of those that has a very impressive presentation with not too much effort. So I hope you'll try it. Buy my book, try the recipe, let me know what you think. You should be seeing a link to the book here. Title again, Cooking on the Prairie with the Ingalls. This is the third book in my series. The first two books also available on Amazon. These first two books are nonfiction. It adds a fourth and fifth generation of stories of the Ingalls family living in America. So hope you buy those as well. Read them, enjoy them, let me know what you think of them. Again, R. Lee Ingalls, I appreciate you joining me today, and thank you.